evening, everyone, and welcome to the All Hands on Deck show. I'm Reverend Ira Ackery, your host, and my special guest today is the one and only Marcel Jackson. We call him Action Jackson. Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me today, Reverend Ackery.
Well, how you been, my friend?
I can't complain even if I wanted to. Everything's been great. A lot of work to be done in the community.
We got a great, exciting show today. Action Jackson's in the house. This is one of the fastest growing journalists, entrepreneurs. He's a leader in the community. He is flying high, and he is skyrocketing in success, and we're very proud to have him on. We're going to talk with him about some of the things he's doing. He has a screening coming up with one of these up-and-coming movies. It's a private screening, and I want to talk about the motivation behind that. We're going to talk about the governor's race, and then also we're going to talk about what's going on the west side. On the west side is still the best side. Yes, it is. Oh, yeah. If you don't agree with me, I dare you to call me. Bring it on. Bring it on. 312-738-1060. And we got Mr. Ron Hearns from the American Job Center. He is coming on as well at 4:40. Want my producer to know. Get ready for Mr. Ron Hearns at 4:40. I gave him the wrong time. I told him 3:40 earlier. But so glad he's able to flip his schedule around because he's gonna come on. He's gonna talk about job leads, and he's gonna talk about workforce development, because some people may not have a degree, they may not have a trade, they may not have extraordinary skills, but they have a desire. They have the willpower. They want to work. And here is a system in place. Yes, it is. And I'm glad to be hosting it every Wednesday, and it's tomorrow 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. and he's going to talk about some of the services that they offer. I'm so excited to be a part of this. My brother.
All right.
Tell me, what is the purpose of you doing this screening? You've done screenings in the past. What's the motivation behind this one?
So when our organization does a screening, we strategically pick what movies we want to bring to the community for free and to get them out. And so this new up-and-coming movie about a black superhero, when I saw the preview for it, not only did I just want to see it because it seemed like an action-packed film, but I thought it had a good meaning and story behind it. So on February the 17th, we're going to host a free community screening. And the movie is about a black superhero. So the first thing was, so many times in our community, the media portrays African Americans in a negative light. And so when I saw this movie was being shown about a black superhero doing great things for his people and his country, I knew I wanted our youth to be able to go out and see it.
How many people are you expecting?
So we're expecting 500 people. We're inviting 500 community members out free of charge to come and view the movie.
Do you have panelists, a group of panelists
so
you have invited? Yeah,
we have some guests that'll be invited. We'll have time. We're going to do a town hall prior to the screening. We're looking to get young people registered to vote and actively engage, because the theme of the movie is this young prince goes back to his African village and get all of his allies together to save the village.
Get all the allies together.
Get all the allies together.
Can you expound on how that applies to our community?
Well, that applies because it's past time for our community,
all right,
for our people to come together and look at each other as allies and not enemies, because we're all fighting for one common goal, and it is in the movie their country, and we're fighting for our community.
As a young person, you're not even 30 years old yet. How do you feel about the lack of unity among the various institutions in our community? You got politicians not together and fighting each other, then you got pastors fighting the politicians, and then you got business owners against everybody, and then people are saying the fathers are missing. How do you feel about that? How do you stay encouraged? How do you stay motivated?
Well, it's frustrating, but
you got to stay encouraged.
I stay motivated because of people like you.
Okay.
Because of mentors like yourself and the Malcolm Crawfords, my pastor David Whitley. Although there's a age gap you've all brought me in and have been inclusive. Now, when I go in meetings and see other leaders who are not inclusive of the younger generation, or if they're in business, they don't want to work with the church, or if they're South Side, they don't want to work with West Side, it can be frustrating, but I'm just reminded of the inclusiveness that I see amongst the leaders that I work with. And so that's what this screening is about, to make sure that our young people can see on the big screen how the allies are going to come together with one common goal, and that's the community.
Do you have any nuggets that you think is crucial if we're going to organize strategically around to bring some unification? Do you have any nuggets that you think you personally see that's vital to make this come into fruition?
Well, one of the things I see, we're better together. Another thing that I push is collective economics. That's one of the biggest issues in our community.
Collective economics, what is that? Some people are listening, they want to know.
Understanding that it does not have to be one person making money. It doesn't have to be one person getting all of the resources. How can we get together? How can we unify? And instead of one person going after a contract, we got 5 businesses going after that contract, or we got 5 organizations going after the $1 million grant, and we're all splitting it, you know, down the middle, you know, 5 different ways. But just kind of working together.
There's a model in other communities that do that quite well, right?
Oh, yes. Oh, you see it in the Latino community.
Latinos are very good at that.
And even in, even outside of business and community, I had a talk with some Latino leaders a couple of weeks ago, and I told them when I go in meetings, you know, African Americans are saying Latinos are getting everything, and the woman told me, she said, you know what? When we're in our meetings, they're saying blacks are getting everything.
Okay.
I say, but the difference is I see unity in the Latino community. They understand to come together to fight for one common goal. So I want us, we have it in some areas, but not as strong as it should be. And it doesn't matter if you're black on the west side or black on the south side, you're still black.
312-738-1060. Listen, you are curious about some elections coming up. We talked about that before we got on the air. I want to go specifically to the governor's race. What do you think of this governor? What do you think of Bruce Rauner? How do you assess his success ratio? How do you analyze his administration so far?
Well, just looking at it, he's done a lot of things wrong, and he's done a few things right. The right does not outweigh the wrong, though.
Okay.
But what I'm afraid is going to happen, and it goes back to the screening, if we don't mobilize and get behind the right candidate, we'll look up and the governor, Bruce Rauner, will get back into office.
The funny part about it, we have a president who's not popular, a governor who's not popular, a mayor who's not popular, and it is a possibility all 3 may get reelected.
That's right.
Because our inability to organize.
To organize, to galvanize, and to unify.
Sure.
To understand that it's not about selling out for a little check here or backstabbing somebody in our community here. It's about the major goal of making sure we're electing candidates that are going to support our community and not just during election time.
What's your thoughts about J.B. Pritzker?
J.B. Pritzker is running a very good campaign.
And he has a lot of money to do that.
He has a lot of money to do that.
You cannot run a good campaign off spirit, can you?
No. You got to have some money these days.
Absolutely.
And it's sad, but, you know, it is what it is. But he's doing, you know, he's doing a good job getting his message out.
Okay. What is his message?
From what I see, his message is economic development, the legalization of marijuana, education, investing more in education. So he's getting that message out, working with ex-offenders. So
now, Chris Kennedy seems to have gotten the message out. He's saying that Mary Manuel has basically led this whole gentrification process that seems to be taking place in front of our eyes. And he's gotten a lot of backlash from people in the media, even some black people like columnist Mary Mitchell, and I haven't seen the African American community like galvanize around him and say, right on, we finally heard a white guy speak the truth. You know, this is amazing to me.
And in all honesty, I think it's just because he's not really getting his message out clearly enough.
Sure.
So I don't think a lot of people understand. Chris Kennedy, we just had him at our church this past Sunday.
Okay.
And he did it. I thought he did a great job speaking. But after the service, everybody said, "Hey, I didn't even know he was running."
See.
You know, so
Yeah.
his message is not being out there. So maybe if more people heard that he said the mayor is pushing blacks out, they would be a little angry and get behind him. But now that you said it on All Hands on Deck, I know
Now
the whole world.
All hands on deck.
The whole world is gonna know
this
now.
is paramount to CNN, so I'm sure everybody hears it and everybody sees it. So now, Chris Kennedy, you owe me. Okay? All right. Listen, I have a great guest that's on the line, and he's out here on the front line helping people with workforce development, and he's providing job leads for those who are already prepared. I want to welcome him to the show, Mr. Ron Hearns. Welcome to All Hands on Deck, sir.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate that, Pastor.
All right, Ron. We can't hardly hear you. Can you speak up a little bit? I know you're busy. You one of the hardest working men in the city. You've been doing this kind of work for over 25 years, right?
That's correct.
Now, what drives you to just want to get people on the workforce and get them prepared for their careers? What drives you? That's an unusual skill, one we certainly appreciate.
Well, a lot of it comes from my own personal experiences. I grew up single mom, raising three kids. We lived in Cabrini Green for a while. We lived at 6217 Calumet. So I've lived in the projects, and I've always felt like there's an opportunity to do much better for myself and for everyone I try to touch by providing the services that we provide to help them become self-sufficient. I try to take my own experiences, share it with people to understand that there's always a brighter day. Keep the Lord first and work hard. And then what I try to do is provide them with the tools so that they'll be successful. We cover everything from resume writing to interviewing skills. And if I provide them with job leads of employers that are actually hiring, then they shouldn't have a problem getting hired if they're committed to the process.
That is amazing. I like the fact we got people not only looking at us on television, people are joining us on social media, and many of them are saying they can't hear, but I want to just say one thing I want to repeat. He helps with resume writing, interview coaching, and job leads. He gets you ready. He gets you prepared. This is so awesome. And he is going to be on site at Greater St. John Bible Church tomorrow. That's the church that I pastor in the Austin community, 1256 North Waller Avenue. And he also provides job leads. I can't say that enough. But even if you don't have any skills, he said, come on in, come on by the little office and come to the satellite office, and Brother Hearns, he's going to help you a little bit. He's going to give you some tips. He's going to give you some nuggets. Yep. So listen, we got a caller. Caller, welcome to the show. Do you have a question for one of my two guests?
Yes, this is Dan Woods, and I've worked with Marcel in the Austin Empowerment Coalition, and I was just wondering how we could better pick a candidate that we could work with as a slate.
All right.
As a whole slate. You
want to answer that question?
Yeah, well, hey, Dan. Dan's a great worker, a great organizer, field worker. He gets out here. But Dan, the solution now is that, and I always use this analogy. I started my first business at 15, and I've never hired an employee that I've never interviewed. And we have to start interviewing these candidates and these elected officials before we hire them for a job. And then we got to get behind them, work with them, and hold them accountable. And when they don't do what we want, that first term, we need to get them out. We need to get another candidate that we can put in place. But it's time out for us to just sit by idle and allow people to just do whatever they want to do for us, and we just give them our vote.
That's right. We got to hold these candidates accountable. Too many people are voting on personality instead of policy, and that's a death knell for our community. It never helps us. We've got to learn how to vote the issues, and when they do not answer the call, we need to ship them out. Ship them out.
Yeah.
Ron, we still have you on the line. Is there anything else you'd like to add about what you're going to do tomorrow and moving forward on the West Side site?
Tomorrow we are going to cover everything from A to Z where it comes to becoming employed. Like you said, we're going to cover the job search. We're going to cover job applications. We're going to cover interviewing questions. We're going to cover the 30-second elevator pitch. The job club is supposed to be it's a social and a professional resource where the members can connect with others and gain the kind of information that I'll be bringing to the table, including job leads.
All right. All right, Brother Hearns, I really appreciate you coming. I wish there's a way you can give us the number where we can have these people call in. 722, what is it?
722-3885.
All right. Thank you so much, and I'll see you tomorrow. And we're going to have people from all over Chicago on the West Side in the Austin community at Greater St. John Bible Church for the Austin Job Club. I'm so excited. Thank you for joining us. Listen, those of you that are watching, you're welcome to come on the West Side where we're making it happen, where we're shaking and baking. You know, it's going down. Ron Hearns, he is working in partnership with us, American Job Center, and it's an extension of, or in collaboration rather, with Chicago Cook County Workforce Development. We are trying to bring people jobs. That's what it's all about.
That's it.
What do you think about this program?
I think it's great. I was reading an interesting post today that said people who only encourage entrepreneurs got it all wrong.
Is that right?
Because everybody can't be an entrepreneur who gonna work in the businesses. So we got to advocate for businesses. We got to advocate for jobs. So I think what you're doing is great. People need jobs. People are out here hurting. And the biggest root of the problems in our community is economics.
Expound on that. You know, we always talk about nobody is intentionally waking up in the morning just saying, you know, I just want to shoot people. You know, I just want to go rob somebody. But the truth of the matter is many people are basically trying to solve an economic problem. That's what's really going on. People are trying to solve an economic problem.
You know, you're right. The stick-up man doesn't get up in the morning saying, you know, I just want to go stick somebody up. He's sticking somebody up because he doesn't have any food in his refrigerator, no clothes, no shoes to put on his feet. They're on the verge of getting put out the house. On my way in, I just got a call. I asked, do I know any programs that help with rent? Because they're on the verge of being put out of their home.
Sure.
So economics is one of the largest roots to the violence and a lot of the problems that we experience in our community. A lot of the mental issues, too.
Sure.
People go crazy without having any money.
So we got economic issues, we got mental issues, and all of that produces this violence crisis that we have. You know, so we've got to do something. We got to do all that we can to make sure that we get jobs. And I'm excited about this program. I'm really excited about it. In fact, I want you to help put the word out because you got an army of people that are behind you. You have an army of people who are behind you. I know eventually they're going to want you to run for office. You know?
Oh, man.
And you're so busy right now, but you got to be ready to answer the call if that happens. Yeah. Look like we have a call on the line. Caller, welcome to the show.
Yes, sir. My name is Ray, and you know what gets me? All the people.
Can you speak up louder?
Okay, all the people that complain about not getting anything, they don't vote.
Yep.
So what gives them the right to call into the show and start moaning and groaning about they can't get this or they can't get that? Look, if you don't vote, don't say anything. And when you do vote, don't vote, please, color or religion, because right now all that's going on is people voting, like you said, the name, and they don't know
That's right.
anything else. So would you please let everybody know when you vote, don't waste it.
I appreciate that. What community you calling from, may I ask?
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. We appreciate that call. This gentleman is very excited about. He's very excited about getting the people out to the polls to vote. He's very excited about that.
Yeah, well, he's right, and but so he's right that the people shouldn't complain if they're not voting. I agree with that 100%. And the people who are voting need to mobilize and register others to vote. Get them to the polls, encourage them to vote. And so what we're going to be doing at the free community screening, we're going to have deputy registrars on hand to register to vote.
Let me ask you a question. What do you think about Bliss? Biss, is that what his name? Bliss, yeah.
Biss.
Biss.
You know what? I'll say this. I'm very impressed with his new TV commercials that he have out. And I like his message of just being an ordinary guy.
Yeah, it's like millionaires and billionaires are the ones who are running for office now. The whole paradigm has changed. I wonder how do we ever get in this particular predicament? Obviously, they don't do a good job. Ronald's not done a good job. Trump is clearly not doing a good job.
Terrible.
So it has taken the regular elected officials have now become billionaires trying to run corporations.
And I think what needs to happen, what has to happen, and I don't know if it's going to happen in this race, we have to have candidates that are not millionaires to get out, mobilize, and win elections.
I don't know how that's going to happen because these people are buying elections now. You can buy. You saw what Rahm Emanuel did last time. Rahm Emanuel spent $20 million out of his campaign fund, and he put on a little blue sweater and told people, "I'm a nice guy." Sometimes I make mistakes, and he had a great script. And this being programmed into you, morning, midday, afternoon, evening, and night. After a while, some people it resonated. Me, I still voted the other way, but other people, they continue to support or flip back supporting Rahm Emanuel. Let me ask you a question. What about T.O. Hardeman? T.O. plays a role in this race. What do you think his role is?
I love T.O.'s tenacity.
Sure.
First of all, anybody that wants to run for any office is a honorable person to me, because you don't have to run, and the stress and pressure that go with running for office, especially governor. So I give kudos to T.O. for trying. I wish T.O. had more support.
Well, support and money.
And money.
Yeah.
And it said that has to be the determining factor now, because it's not the experience anymore, it's the money. Look at Donald Trump.
Sure.
Look at elections across the country where rich people are stepping up just to run because they got enough money, so now they need a little extra power.
Listen, we want to apologize for the technical difficulties that we experienced today. I want to thank you guys who continue to tune in to the show, and now they're saying wrap up. So, bye. See you next week.
Thank you for having me, Reverend.